Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Write this down.
Yes.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
It is a Write That Down Wednesday.
Write that down.
Here.
Write that down. I don't have a pencil.
Well, remember that.
On Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Judd, as we mentioned yesterday, he's out for a couple days here. Death in the family. His brother-in-law unfortunately passed away, and he wanted the audience to know that, and that he will be back later on this week. We think tomorrow, but he's with family. So thoughts with Judd and his family, his wife, as they go through this week here. He did, however, Declan, record his predictions from his hotel room via satellite. And I think he threw a live ad read in there somewhere. So
most Judd thing ever to, even though a sad and somber times for all, to use that platform still to make sure that his Write That Down predictions get in and on time as well, and get a Finch home salute. Even when Judd is celebrating the loss of his beloved brother-in-law, he is still sneaking ad reads in. He's still getting his Write That Down predictions. It's the most Judd thing ever, in my opinion.
Yes, just got to sneak that Finch Home Solutions love in there. Let's sneak some Nicolay Law love in before we get started with the accountability session. Nicolay Law, the official exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. They are proud to serve the Twin Cities community. In fact, you can see Russell Nicolay on your YouTube channel right now, just roaming around US Bank Stadium, thinking about how he can get you the compensation you deserve after an accident. These are just normal, everyday people you see in and around the Twin Cities, and they just happen to have law degrees to help you during a time of need after you got injured in an accident. So if you want to find out more information, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. So, okay, before we get to Judd via satellite here and his predictions, let's go through an accountability session. Here's how it works every single week, if you're new to Write That Down. It's 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. Those are really the only parameters here. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And listeners, if you want to be like Rich, who's going to make his Write That Down debut, if you want to be a guest listener participant, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we'll get you scheduled for some time here, hopefully, this offseason. Let's start with Judd. Nothing came off the board. Kind of a slow time during the football offseason here. So we'll highlight, in the absence of predictions coming off the board, predictions that are still on the board. Judd said Case Cookus will be the MVP of the UFL this season. Now, I got to admit, I only really watch my Stallions.
Yeah.
Or not my Stallions, I'm sorry. My Battlehawks. My St. Louis Battlehawks is the team that I have picked.
Naturally.
Who does Case Cookus play for? We know.
Is it Houston? Is it the Roughnecks?
Is it? I'm going to Google it.
Is he a Roughnecker? Roughnecks guy?
Case Cookus UFL stats.
Wasn't he the MVP last year, or like the Super Bowl, their Super Bowl MVP or something? I thought he had a big game near the end of the year. I thought.
He plays for the Memphis Showboats.
According the Showboats, of course.
What I'm looking at here, and he's played in. Is this accurate? He's played in 8 games and only has 989 passing yards. I don't know if these are updated stats, but
we've talked about this before. The UFL website, the money was not allocated to that website. There are 14, 16. I know they teach coding more and more. I took a very minor one in my entry level for my major in college.
Yeah.
But there are high school kids and college kids who could definitely put together a better website than what the UFL has done to try to navigate through that site.
It's really bad. Yeah, he is currently third to last in passer rating. He only has 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So it looks like he's probably not going to be the MVP of the UFL, but we'll leave it on the board until the end of the season.
All right.
I told you guys last week that Theo Jackson's name would be mentioned in Judd's Camp Notes episode from last Thursday. My screen looks like it's freezing here. There we go.
Ding, ding, ding. Nice.
Theo Jackson. Listeners, nothing off the board. But David, we're going to keep highlighting this one because it's still alive this season. David said the Timberwolves will win a championship before the Vikings. And they're still alive after last night.
Yeah, I joined. I actually filled in for Judd on the Tom Bernard show this morning, and we were both reminiscing on the fact of even though they were down 3-0 and they had an epic win yesterday, the Minnesota Timberwolves, you say this out loud, it's still crazy to me. The Minnesota Timberwolves are just a few wins away from going to an NBA championship.
I know. It's kind of crazy.
It's mind-blowing. As someone who was born in 92, the year after the Twins won their second World Series, experiencing that block party on Friday on Hennepin in downtown Minneapolis where people are just all over the place and the energy is high. I was like, oh, this is what this feels like when a Minnesota sports team is playing like meaningful games. Like I was in awe because I have never experienced something like that.
Well, and they're favored, I think, by 4.5 tomorrow night at home in Game 5.
Nice.
I mean, they had an 18-point lead at home in Game 2. Mm-hmm. I still think overall they are the better team in the series, but obviously Dallas has two all-time great offensive players and closers, and we'll just have to see. But they're still alive. Okay, you had a 3-game parlay in the UFL last week go sideways here. You said the Battlehawks, the Stallions, and the Panthers would all win their respective games. Only the Panthers were able to pull off their games.
Yeah, I saw our Battlehawks. I know you're a Battlehawks guy too. So I saw our Battlehawks fall this week. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, there goes the parlay. Too bad.
Yeah, they're kind of sliding here. The Stallions and the Battlehawks were two of the best teams in the league all year. Okay, so with that, Declan with a 50% completion percentage on the season leads everybody. I'm at 37%. Judd 32%, tied with listeners. Judd's just a little bit above at 32.1. Listeners at 32%. Judd and the listeners tied with 3 touchdowns apiece on the season. The season runs from Super Bowl to Super Bowl. So we're like a quarter of the way through the 2024 season. All time, Declan leads with a 37.2% completion percentage. Judd just under 35%. I'm at 33.5%. Listeners at 23%. I have 47 touchdowns, which is 4 more than Declan, 5 more than the listeners, and 11 more than Judd. Okay, let's bring him in here. He is our guest listener predictor, Rich, making his debut. Hello. Rich, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Excellent.
What's your background as a Vikings fan? Tell us your story.
So, first memory of the Vikings, like 1987 season, I was in first grade. Anthony Carter, Joey Browner, that kind of stuff. And then like my friend's dad, like dropping F-bombs after Darren Nelson dropped that pass in Washington. Oh. And then from then on out, it's just kind of like a typical Vikings fan where it's like, oh, if we just get a guard, or, Mike Zimmer's going to coach up Cam Dantzler. And then after like 2020, like when they got blown out by the Atlanta Falcons with the Raheem Morris coaching change, I was like, wait, am I being gaslit? This team's not good, right? And then I went online and like just saw like Eric Eager just like throwing out analytics. I'm like, oh, I should be this kind of fan and actually know what I'm talking about. And then from then on out, I've just been like making bets against the Vikings against my friend as long as like Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. I'm like, we won't win a playoff game with him. And then like for 3 years, and then like after he threw that 4th and 8, I just got on my text chain like, you guys all owe me like $250. Now I just like ate at Young Jody for free for like 3 months or something.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
So you cheer for the Vikings, but you with the logical side of your brain, you make money off your friends while cheering for the Vikings. Is that
right? Man. If you want to be a mark, man. I'll take your money. Go ahead. But yeah, no, I cheer for the Vikings. I just want them to do it correctly, which I think Kwesi's really steering the ship in the right way. I mean, they probably should have cut bait a few times. Like they probably should have traded Daniil Hunter. I mean, there's no way that he was coming back in my mind. So why not get that 2nd round, 3rd round pick? But other than that, yeah, I mean, he's cleared the board. Rookie contract. We all know you got to be like, you can't be negative in your points for and against and be 13-4 and tell me you're a contender. You need like top 5 EPA in passing.
Yep,
all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I like the way he's going. He's a smart guy, so yeah.
We have
I'm on board now. Yeah.
Rich, we have with my friends, we have like a Slack chat, and it has like a billion different threads in it, from like career talk to lifestyle to money. And one of the famous ones my buddy always uses is called the emotional hedge. So he'll put a bet slip in there of like, same thing, Vikings playing the Falcons, they will not cover. So we're gonna do the emotional hedge here.
Yeah.
So regardless if they lose, if the Vikings lose, at least I'm making money off of it. The emotional hedge. I like that you also do a similar thing with the Kirk era.
Yeah, I it's like Phil says, it's like my favorite TV show. It's like I don't go to like a movie and then it, kind of sucks, and I'm like, oh my god, like why did it suck? I'm like, oh, that sucked. Like let's move on. I have other things to do, like so. Like
it would be funny if we got as emotionally attached as we do to like sports teams to actors, where you're like a Tom Hanks season ticket holder,
right?
And man, that movie was just a dud. I can't believe it. Fire his agent.
Larry Crown. Why do you do that? Oh God, I hate him. Whatever. Yeah.
Reminiscing about the first time we saw a Tom Hanks movie, Big. It hooked me in the late 1980s. So, all right, well, we're gonna go through here. We're gonna start with Rich, and then we'll go to Judd via satellite, pre-recorded Judd, and then Declan back to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room here.
Write this down.
So, Rich, you're under center, man. What's your first prediction?
Perfect. So, I like analytics. I think their issues is they don't embrace the uncertainty that they should as data scientists. And I think they round into that with the 2-point conversion stuff. Like as soon as like they're like, yeah, you should go for it, and it doesn't work. It's like everyone's like, oh, look at this, look at you nerds. When they were kind of ripping on Kwesi about these trades, in the 2024 draft, I was thinking, you guys are a little over your skis here, man, because I remember the Julio Jones trade, and while they're right, most times it does not work to trade the capital. What's happened so far, we got JJ McCarthy, we got Dallas Turner, the kicker Will Richard, and then Levi Drake Rodriguez, whatever. This is what's happened with those picks. Kamari Lassiter, a cornerback, Isaac Orendo, a running back, Keelan Robinson, a running back, Charles Smith-Wade, a cornerback, and Jamal Hill, a linebacker. At the end of J.J. McCarthy's and Dallas Turner's rookie contracts, write this down, they will have more expected points added than whatever the draft picks that Kwesi gave up. 100%.
Okay. And so these are and real quick, so this includes the picks that he gave up in the 2025 draft, but does it also include players that were drafted in 2024 with the picks they gave up?
Yep, absolutely.
Can you go through the list of names again so Dex can throw it in our spreadsheet here?
Yep. Kamari Lassiter, Houston. Isaac Orendo, San Francisco, I think. Keelan Robinson, Keilan. Charles Smith-Wade, and Jamal Hill. So
extra points for Rich helping Declan with the spelling there, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a man who knows the show very well.
2 running backs. I mean, who cares? Like the most efficient running game in the NFL is worth like the 16th most efficient passing game. Whatever. Who cares? And a linebacker, like people are freaking out that they gave this up. Get out of here. Shut up.
Yeah, I love these takes from Rich, because also, as Thor has explained too, going back several weeks, people are doing the math on the Vikings trading up for the 17th pick, for instance, to get Dallas Turner. But if they had Dallas Turner as the 8th best player on their big board, that's the value. I mean, they're looking at the player, not the slot. And the same thing for JJ McCarthy. And I mean, at the end of the day, if they nailed, I would argue that quarterback and edge rusher are the 2 most important premium positions in the NFL. And if you nailed rookie scale contract, top end versions of both, no one's going to care about the extra capital you gave up at the beginning of day 3 in 2025. So calm down.
Yeah, you don't have to argue it. It's true. And Aaron Donald, his value is worth a mediocre quarterback. That's how important it is. JJ McCarthy just has to be like Andy Dalton, and he'll be as valuable as Aaron Darnold.
Yeah,
I'm
Andy
pretty
Dalton,
sure.
Andy Dalton. People like hear Andy Dalton now and they think, oh, Andy Dalton, they like cringe. But Andy Dalton was actually a really good player, just stuck in a bad organization for a while.
No, I get it. But I'm just saying it's like he doesn't have to be like even, Jordan Love or whatever. Yeah. He's just, like a top 12-ish guy. He's just got to be like 16th best or whatever. And
I didn't realize I had that visceral rushing to defend Andy Dalton in me, but there it was.
No. Yeah.
Let's go to Judd via satellite here. Pre-recorded Judd for his first prediction.
Write that down. Number one. Write this down, actually, folks. Finch Home Solutions is your place. If you have any electrical needs around the house, you need an outlet replaced, Finch is there for you. You need your kitchen rewired completely, Finch is there for you. Check them out at finchhomesolutions.com. And, of course, tell Cody and his crew that the guys from Purple Daily sent you. Write this down. Caleb Williams will be benched by the Bears at some point this season as their quarterback.
Okay, two observations about Judd via satellite. So that was meant to be the first prediction, right, Dex? Like he sent them in order?
Correct.
Okay, because he texted me yesterday or whenever it was, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna send you my predictions. Let me know, like, formatting wise, what you think." And I said horizontal frame because it's for YouTube, so horizontal frame. So sports dad got that one wrong.
Yeah.
And then he knows that we usually do the reads after the second prediction, or maybe even the third prediction. So he rushed the read for his. He got all excited to do the read for his first prediction. So Judd, nice job with the prediction, but 0 for 2 on the formatting.
AJ is learning this also because now when you see all those selfie videos, the afternoon, evening Judds and stuff, for years, Judd has always texted those to me. Typically has texted those to me, and then I post them, etc. Now he's been kind of throwing them more to AJ. But Judd has this amazing, we can poke fun at everyone on how we all broadcast and tics we all have. But Judd has this thing, and I had to edit this out of each one of his videos. When he starts his video, he has a recording for like 2 or 3 seconds before he says anything because he gets his head right. And then he always closes his eyes and then starts speaking. I had to like trim it out because every time I had the thumbnail, it was literally like this. So I had to like trim out a little before because otherwise, he looks like a flippin' cartoon character. But it's funny all the things you learn about Judd as you learn. Even when you say horizontal frame and nope, we're gonna do this, then I have to put it into Canva. It's fine. We got it, Judd. We got your predictions in.
Judd's one of my favorite humans of all time.
Yeah,
all time. By the way, since we're perfect, we can throw stones in a glass house. So
yes, absolutely, especially when he's gone.
Back to Declan for your first prediction.
Well, speaking of Judd, write this down. I think I made this last year. I might have even made this every year Kevin O'Connell has been the head coach. Kevin O'Connell will address Judd by name. Did I feel?
Oh, no, you haven't. Hold on. Go, keep going.
Okay. Kevin O'Connell will address Judd by name at a training camp or off-season practice.
Okay.
I think I know where you're going now, but we'll have video or audio or confirmation evidence from Judd. I think Judd would own up if he addressed him by name, but specifically on a training camp, practice, or off-season type of situation between now and week 1. Write it down.
Okay. I'm going to piggyback off that because that's a great prediction.
Write this down.
We've done the annual off-season Kevin O'Connell show where he comes on Purple Daily the last 2 off-seasons and we chop it up with him for an episode. And I think I made this one successfully last year. I'm just going to repeat it. It's going to be my go-to prediction. So it's a parlay because Kevin O'Connell will join the show, and we got wind that it's probably going to happen. Probably going to happen in June sometime. He will join the show, and he will give one of us a good question or a good point acknowledgement. So, like for example, Declan will ask a question, and KOC will say, "That's a good question," and then he'll go on his way. He will acknowledge a good question or a good point from one of us during said interview, and we will celebrate and probably pause the show and play the applause.
Ding,
great,
the whole thing. That's awesome.
Okay, back to Rich here for your second prediction.
Write this down.
Okay, Vikings were 23rd in weighted DVOA last year. I think write this down. Vikings will be better than 23rd in weighted DVOA next year.
Okay. For the non-analytical crowd here on Purple Daily, DVOA, previously it was a Football Outsiders statistic, and now it's gone with Aaron Schatz to wherever he is, right? He's like at a new he left Football Outsiders and he's somewhere else. But it's like an all-encompassing how good is your team, all context included. Strength of opponent, are are you racking up yardage in garbage time situations or high leverage situations, and all of it put in a mathematical stew? And the Vikings were, like you said, 23rd last year. So,
Yep.
Which is kind of where they were when they won like 13 games, wasn't it? They were like bottom half of the league.
They were
was it 20? Yeah. But they somehow snuck out.
They were beating
13.
up on like Mike White and stuff like that. I mean, come on, give me a break.
And they were also catching one-handed passes in Buffalo on 4th and 18. And
Write that down.
crazy, man. Okay, pre-recorded Judd via satellite for his second prediction.
All right, sticking with the NFC North theme here, and with the Bears in particular, Matt Eberflus will be fired by the Bears as their coach before the 2025 season. So dovetailing with the Caleb Williams being benched, defensive guy in charge of a young quarterback, Matt Eberflus will be fired before the 2025 season.
Wow. He is setting up a storyline of epic proportions in Chicago. Can you imagine if Caleb Williams is that big of a disaster? They have to fire a coach, start over. Oh, inject it all.
Has that ever happened in Chicago?
Oh, no, they've never botched a young quarterback and then fired a coach. Never in their history.
Write this down.
Declan, what's your second prediction?
All right, write this down, because I think this quarterback camp battle is going to be a lot closer than we think. I don't think it's just naturally Sam Darnold falling in as QB1 and he just rides it out and gets it week 1. I think this is going to be a lot closer than we think, and I'm going to quantify it in this way. Write it down. Sam Darnold's name will surface as a trade candidate by a credible source between now and week 1.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I'm going to quantify this as the camp battle's a lot closer, and J.J. McCarthy might win the job, which means our team's going to start calling Sam Darnold as a possible trade candidate as injuries happen, et cetera. We talked about this, I think, on Feedback Friday last week. But Sam Darnold's name will surface as a trade candidate between now and week 1 by a credible source. We'll know it when we see it.
I think it's a touchdown, because there's been no indications, even if JJ
Correct.
wins the battle, there's been no indications that the Vikings would then like trade Sam Darnold. So what would have to happen is JJ McCarthy is wildly impressive over the next 2 months, 3 months. And then another team with playoff aspirations would have some sort of injury to a quarterback, or maybe it's a quarterback that they're not out for the season, but it's like when Joe Burrow strained his calf or something, and a team needs someone to step in for like the first 6 to 8 weeks. So like a couple things would have to happen.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot closer. And if you're betting favorite, yes, Sam Darnold is your betting favorite to be the week 1 quarterback. But I think this is going to be a lot closer than we think. And Darnold has a tendency to look really good in training camp and practices and behind the scenes. And he is, by the way, like a better quarterback than what we saw with the Jets. Like, that is clear. But I think J.J. McCarthy is going to give him a big push here, and I wonder if teams start calling.
Okay.
Write this down.
Okay, write this down. Tom Brady's doing the media tour now. He's getting all set up for his broadcasting debut on Fox week 1. The Cowboys Browns, I want to say. So write this down. Tom Brady's first game on Fox will set a viewership record of some kind. And so I'm expecting that like Fox will send out a press release saying like what the viewership record is. Now, it can't just be that it was up 50% year over year. It's going to have to be, for example, the most watched 3 p.m. game of all time or something, total audience. It will set a viewership record of some kind.
Okay.
Most total audience or highest share or rating or something. And they'll let you know. Because if that happens, they will send out a gleeful press release.
Yes, they always do.
Touting Tom Brady and everything.
Because I was going to say, I mean, I'm sure there's probably like Fox playoff games that it won't touch. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's been Fox playoff games.
Yeah, it's not going to touch like
that.
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but to your point, like, and if it is a 3:00 game, I don't know when the times it is. It would be a 3:00, right? If
I think
it's
it's
the game of the week.
Yep.
So I know what you mean. Yeah, I think, and they always love ESPN. Everyone always does this. Like, hey, viewership up 25% year over year, or from week 2 to week 2 or so. So yes, we'll know it when we see it.
And it can't be like it can't be it's up year over year because that wouldn't be a record. I think this is a home run because I'm saying it will be a record, like a viewership record of some kind. It won't just be that they're up. Hey, we had a better week 1 than last year. So, yeah, if we need to get Lawyer Chase involved, we can definitely explore
Write this down.
Lawyer Chase. Okay, back to Rich for his third and final prediction here.
Okay, so write this down. The Vikings, this is a 3-part, I guess, parlay, I suppose you'd call it. The Vikings will end up 7-10 again. They will pick top 12 again. And with that first pick, they will pick one of the 3 players. Deion Walker from Kentucky, defensive tackle. Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Or Michael Williams, defensive line, Georgia.
Okay. If they were to go 7-10 and J.J. McCarthy played some games and looked feisty, and you were able to get a franchise interior defensive monster who can rush the passer, that wouldn't be the worst case scenario for this team.
I'm thinking 2014 vibes with Teddy.
Yeah.
And then you build up to that 11-win season in 2015, right?
Absolutely.
And then you have a great NFC playoff opponent on the ropes at home, and you're driving for the win. And I guess we can stop telling the story right around there.
Write this down.
For what happened in those playoffs.
Past is the past, future is now.
Yeah. Amen, Rich. Great stuff here. I love Rich bringing the analytics, bringing the metric to the table. Since you've got this life-changing platform right now, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get to this peak moment, Rich?
Yeah. Props to Gary Kruger, my dad. Passed away of ALS in November 2020. King among men. Got me into the Vikings. RIP. My wife, Alyssa, who understands football, both how you build a winner and how the game should be played in the modern NFL.
So you and your wife are just sitting there bitching about Kirk Cousins taking up a high percentage of the salary cap. It's date night.
Yeah. We're going to Saint Denis, eating a burger, going like, can you believe his average annual value or whatever his contract? No, but we're kind of
void years, damn it.
Well, we're just kind of confused why people would call him elite, but 3 teams don't lock him up long term. And then each time he gets punked in every single franchise he's been. That's not how, come on, give me a break. And
I, for one, have moved on with my life, Rich. Okay.
Same. I'm done, man. I when's the last time you thought of Richard Ramirez, the serial killer from the 80s? Who cares? He's gone. He sucked. Now he's gone. Don't worry about him. And last props is to I want to give a shout out to just all the Vikings media. I don't think people understand how good we have it with the beat writers like Gessling, Ragetz, Alec Lewis, Kramer, guys like yourselves, like you, Judd, Dex, and independent dudes like Collar and Arif Hassan and stuff like that. And even bloggers like Matt Freeze and Nick Olson. I mean, so much good content, smart fan base, except for the Kirk Crusaders, which whatever. But other than that, I mean, this is a great fan base, and we've got great media, and I'm really appreciate it. It makes my life a lot better.
Yeah, it is. I feel like the Vikings and Timberwolves media in particular runs this amazingly wide spectrum of, if you want sort of the smart, passionate fan opinions, you've got that. You've got the analytical side. You've got storytellers that are woven into the different publications, and we do have it really, really good with some of the media in the Twin Cities sports scene. So
absolutely. And also go Wolves. Yep, Wolves in 7.
It was always Wolves in 7.
Absolutely.
The world is finding out right now.
Yep.
Rich, great stuff, man. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Take it.
Good luck with your predictions. Guest listener predictor, Rich. That was not a plant, by the way. That was not a plant.
He was not. Breaking Vikings news. Vikings news.
Is this
Yeah, it's worthy. It's worthy of the sound.
It's not like Justin Jefferson.
No, not JJ related. Okay. But coming back on a 1-year deal, Dalton Risner is re-signing with the Vikings.
Oh, interesting. Do we have the figures on the 1-year deal?
No, Schefter said 1-year deal. Ben Gessling said 1-year deal. But Dalton Risner is re-signing with the Vikings.
Okay,
he's back, and that kick.
Okay, interesting. So I think one of my predictions, we can officially move this off the board from last week. But I said he wouldn't sign with anyone until after everyone has reported to training camp. He must have finally I think he wanted starter level money, and the Vikings and the rest of the league, for whatever reason, don't look at him on the same level. It's one of the weirdest cases because PFF loves him as a pass protector. He seems on the field to bring a great energy. He's running down and supporting his teammates and all these things, but I don't know if there's like a personality thing or if he just wants more money than he's worth. It's just weird that he sat 2 different off seasons that long on the market, but okay. We'll let you guys know if before the end of the episode we get a dollar figure on that, but I'm assuming that it'll be then Blake Brandel, Dalton Risner, and you know what? Going into year 3, Ed Ingram does not have a guaranteed job, for me anyways, at right guard. So maybe you go into training camp and you've got Brandel, Risner, and Ingram and 2 guard spots. And those guys can fight it out.
Yeah, you just need so much depth in the NFL. I mean, the moment you lose a guy to an injury or ineffectiveness, I mean, it shipwrecks you when you lose Christian Darrisaw or Brian O'Neill. Like, there's really no replacing a tackle, but you just need, just like in baseball, like you just need so many options when a starting pitcher goes down. Not exactly the same when you lose like an ace compared to a left tackle, but Dalton Risner gives you just another option on this, and we'll see. We'll certainly see. It's a 1-year deal. I don't know what the figures are because we don't know quite yet, but this could be a guy that still has to prove himself in camp too.
Yeah. So, okay, before we make our 3 final predictions here, let's talk about Bachman. So, guys, you might hear Bachman's and think, isn't that that's that flower place, right? They do have beautiful bouquets of flowers. Any flowers you could ever imagine. But Bachman's is so much more than flowers, especially during this landscaping season. Turn your yard into the ultimate landscaping oasis. Part of that is choosing the right furniture that fits your outdoor haven so you can relax and enjoy and entertain neighbors and friends. In fact, my wife and I were at Bachman's just down 55. My wife, a few days ago, we were looking at a couple things for us. We were looking at their furniture because we are in the market for some new patio furniture.
Love patio furniture.
We wound up getting some different plants, and then we actually wound up getting a couple things for our neighbor whose birthday was last weekend. So it's just, I mean, Bachman's is so wide-ranging. Right now, they're also offering 15% off pallets of mulch and easy delivery to your home. So again, if you're looking to get started on a landscaping project so that you can create an oasis that everyone in the neighborhood will look over, crane their neck and say, ooh, how did they get that done? Bachman's with 7 locations in the Twin Cities area. Also, a shout out to our friends over at Dennis Kirk. It's riding season. So all of you Ragnars out there, listen up, okay? Whether you ride motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, you name it, DennisKirk.com has over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories. They offer same-day shipping, free shipping on orders over $89, financing plans as well. And they also have a ride finder tool, which allows you to enter your make, your model, and the year and find parts that will exactly fit whatever your ride is. DennisKirk.com. That's DennisKirk.com. Okay.
Write this down.
Back to Judd via satellite here. Pre-recorded Judd.
And finally, write this down. Let's go from Chicago to Green Bay. Greg Joseph, former Vikings kicker, will not be on a 53-man roster to open the season. Regular season, week 1. So he's in Green Bay. There's a competition. I don't think he wins it. I don't think he's on a 53-man on opening weekend of this season. Unemployed, if you will.
Wow.
The drive-bys.
Interesting. Yeah. Judd's in a salty mood, an NFC North salty mood. Okay, over to Dex for your third
Write this down.
and final prediction.
All right, write this down. I don't think I've made this before. I'm going to make a Justin Jefferson contract prediction lengthwise. We talked about this yesterday at the PDOD crew, but write this down. Justin Jefferson's next contract will be 4 years or less.
You actually have that exact prediction on the board.
Exact prediction. Okay.
It literally is Justin Jefferson's next contract will be 4 years or less.
I was having deja vu when I, pun intended, wrote this down in my spreadsheet. I was like, have I made this? I'm usually pretty good at not pulling the Judd and forgetting and doubling up on the same prediction.
You could, if you wanted to really go bold, you could say, and it will be fully guaranteed. Which would be, I believe, the first fully guaranteed
I don't have a dollar figure right on the contract.
No, you do not.
I just have. Okay, just really quick.
By the way, for the audience wondering, the rules here are you can't make the same prediction that you've already made.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody on the episode, like let's say that Declan were to make a prediction and then I had the same prediction, I would have to change or tweak my prediction to be different than Declan's if it's made on the same episode. But yeah, you only have because you make predictions that are pretty, they come off the board pretty quickly. So you only have 6 in-play predictions right now on Purple Daily, one of them being Jefferson's next contract, 4 years or less.
Okay, so let's do this. I was doing, God help me, quick math on the fly here. I will say the contract will be worth up to, I think this is good enough, $170 million.
Okay. So if it's over $170 million, then
170 or more. 170 or more.
So at least 100. His next contract, regardless of length, will be at least $170 million.
Correct. Will be at least $170 million.
Okay. So if it was a 4-year, I think it would have to be a 5-year deal then.
Yeah.
Case.
So 170 over 4 would be an AAV of 42.5.
What about divided by 5?
170 divided by 5 is 34 AAV.
So that would be, yep.
Yeah.
So it's basically
this kind of gives me a little bit of a leeway of 4 or 5 year deal, but I do think the total figures will be probably around that.
So at least $170 million on his next contract. Okay, write this down.
Write this down.
Final prediction here of the week. At least 2 Vikings tight ends will catch a touchdown pass in the regular season before TJ Hawkinson does. Okay. So I think they're going to play it safe with Hawkinson and keep him out for the first month. And then part 2 of that basically is Josh Oliver or if Tanyan makes the team or Johnny Munt, whoever it may be. So at least 2 Vikings tight ends will catch a touchdown pass before TJ Hawkinson does this season, right?
Probably a pup guy. I would be pretty surprised. He'd have to make pretty significant progress to not start the season on the pup, and the pup is a minimum of 6, right? I think you have to miss at least 6 if you start week 1 on the pup.
Yeah. So get him through the bye week.
Yeah.
Bye week is what, week 5, week 6, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then fire him up in October. There's no need to rush him back. You're not. Yeah. Not that you don't have aspirations to win, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to be going crazy to rush him back. So
it was bizarre too. I feel like didn't the surgery happen a whole month after the injury took place? It was, and I don't know why it was delayed. I'm not necessarily blaming Hawk for that, but I thought that was so interesting and weird that the surgery took a longer time than from the initial injury.
It was waiting for the swelling to go down. Yeah, Doogie was all over that on the scoop sessions.
Yeah, that's right.
So it did. Yeah, it took a little longer than the way that it was reported. At least is it took a little longer than maybe average or than they thought. So yeah. So those are your write that down predictions.
Write this down.
Guest listener predictor Rich bringing some analytics. Judd from a hotel in Iowa bringing some Bears slander and some Greg Joseph slander.
Write this down.
We appreciate you guys spending your off season with us. Judd's camp notes will be plentiful over the coming weeks. We hope to get Kevin O'Connell on this off season for the annual KOC discussion here on Purple Daily. And if there's other off season things you'd like us to rank or talk about, send us a note through the Score North app. There's a feedback tab, and we'd love your suggestions for the next 2 months or so.
Have you been getting all of the feedback on the snake draft ideas? I just got a great one via email this morning. Bar food. Snake draft of bar food, which is I saw the email and I already started circulating my big board of I already got my 1, then 2, then 3. That's a great snake draft idea.
I love it, man. Maybe we do that one Friday. Are we saying that we're going to do snake drafts for Feedback Friday?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably a good idea. Well, we can park it on that episode typically. Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, let's do. I'll check the emails too, but I've got 10 or 15 of them written down from you guys the last couple weeks. The bar food one is a good one to jump into. So let's do it. All right. Don't forget over on the Mackie and Judd podcast feed, the OG edition of Write That Down. Flagrant Howls post-game show last night was absolutely rocking with the Timberwolves still alive. So there's plenty more under the Score North umbrella. If Purple Daily is your gateway here, check us out on the other Score North podcast, and we'll see you guys tomorrow here. Purple Daily, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.